All right, we're going to take a look at Paul Goldschmidt. So many of you guys probably know Paul Goldschmidt has been working with Driveline the past 2 years. And Driveline is, I'm going to tell you what I think it is from my perspective. It's kind of a shoot off of this sabermetrics kind of movement. But what's happened in the player development field is that they've just assumed, let's just throw numbers basically at this player development area and just go about it in a more geeky fashion, and that should work. So they've gotten these machines that basically give more data, and the knee-jerk assumption here is that now that we have more data, we therefore know what's going on. And the funny thing is no, people don't have a good story of what's going on. They just are swimming and even drowning in data. Somebody at some point has to say, what story is the data telling us? That's the value of all the data. But what's going on in swing instruction and player development in general is that they are just drowning in this data and thinking that, oh, they must be on the cutting edge because they're collecting so much data. What you actually find is Driveline or guys who are, who pride themselves on collecting all this data, they're pretty much clinging on to what is safe, what is already being taught or has been taught in baseball circles, and they're not really taking any chances and saying, wait a second, this is the story that the data is telling us. Here's a whole brand new way of looking at the swing. And so what I think has been going on with Paul Goldschmidt working with Driveline is he's slowly regressing. These guys are quick to attach themselves to these major league players when it's convenient for them, but they don't ever come out and say, hey, look, I worked with this guy and he hasn't done as well. Paul Goldschmidt is one of the best right-handed hitters in the game today. He's the 160th best pound-for-pound hitter on my list. He gets a lot of front humerus compression. He leaves his hands behind. These are all things that are going to be coached out of his swing if he goes and sees someone who teaches conventional methods. And Driveline is teaching conventional methods. From 2011 to 2022, prior to working with Driveline, he hit a home run every 18.81 at-bats with a .295 batting average. Since he's been starting to get consulting with Driveline in 2023, he has 25 at-bats per home run and a .259 batting average. So his power and his consistency has gone down. Let's take a look at what they're working on, because I promise you that's going to hold some clues as to why his performance has gone in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I don't know if you were trying to hit those lower, but almost all of that was pretty low ball flight. And then as soon as I went away, it was the rollover. To not be able to work up through that pitch and stay through those. Yeah. Just as this started to come with that body, it's just you were low ball flight that way. And then we're not able to cover that away.
What he's saying is you don't want to they always say this, pull your front shoulder open. That's going to make it so that you're rolling over on pitches. Actually, the opposite is true. And he also says that it's the pulling of the front shoulder open that's not allowing you to, quote unquote, stay through on that low and away pitch. That's a misconception. What leads to rolling over is a slower body rotation and the hands actually getting out ahead of the body. Exactly what he wants Paul Goldschmidt to do more of. If you want to stop rolling over, what you have to do is rotate more through contact. And if you're working off a tee, move your contact point back closer towards where the catcher would be. And this will allow you to make more connected contact positions. And it'll just push contact back farther so that you have a little bit more time to see the pitch anyways, and you're going to get more mass behind the hit. Let's take a look at Goldschmidt's swing here. See, look, you can see this is not the way Goldschmidt normally swings. He's halting his body rotation and letting his hands fire out almost independently and achieving a much less connected position there at contact than he normally achieves. So this is what happens a lot to these major leaguers, and I'm telling you guys, at any level, you're seeing a pound for pound all-time great right in front of your eyes being persuaded to go along with the conventional instruction. And you're starting to see a decline. It's unbelievable. We saw that, similar thing happen with Tiger Woods on a much larger scale. An elite ball striker starts getting in the mix of conventional instruction in golf and literally struggles to this day. I mean, he never has gotten the swing back that he started with back in 99 and 2000 when he had his best years.
Tiger do that. He was so good, but if he just went along and never changed, he would have won minimum 22, maybe more. He would have gone down as the greatest athlete the world had ever seen, man or woman. So for me, I look at all these top players, can't play anymore. Tiger Woods eventually said, well, I'm going back to the way I used to swing, and won the Masters.
And now we're seeing Paul Goldschmidt being influenced by conventional instruction to his detriment. It will eventually seep into your swing, and you will get worse. Just because you're working on swing mechanics, a lot of these pros think, hey, you know what? I've never put time into the swing. Maybe I'll get serious about it and do my due diligence. They just don't understand that the swing is a different game. You can actually regress working on your swing. If you're working on the wrong things, you will go backwards. And it's a brutal game like that. But that's kind of why, to me, it's the most interesting game too. There's a lot of risk, but there is a lot of reward. If you get it right, there's a lot of reward. Now, Paul Goldschmidt's a guy who had a great swing to begin with. His swing is pretty spot on in terms of being lead arm dominant.
I mean, it felt like I was close, but then I swung, but I was like back square when I hit it. Like you said, just like trying to decelerate because it feels like that front side's already out.
It's like
Oh no, he didn't say decelerate. It's a different way to say fire the hands at the ball, take the body out of it. The idea that you have to halt one body part and then that's the only way the other body part can fire, and then you have to halt that one and then the other body part will fire, and you have to keep kind of halting your body rotation in order to deliver the barrel. That's just a false understanding, and it's more of this get the body out of the swing type of mechanics that are being taught and have been taught for years. What's so great about Paul Goldschmidt's swing, and the reason why he's an elite pound-for-pound hitter of all time, is that he rotated through contact. He stayed very connected as he went through contact. And as far as that outside pitch, still hit the outside pitch as connected as you can be. Rotate through the hit. This idea that you need to stop your shoulder rotation and fire the hands outward in a direct line towards the baseball in order to be square longer is a complete myth. It's actually the opposite. If you want to be square longer with the barrel, you need to get used to rotating your body hard through contact.
Typically, it's like if you're undercoiled at the beginning, you either you're gonna feel like you're flying off. But if you still don't ever coil here, your compensation is just gonna be to add here to try to buy time. Yeah.
Honestly, I don't understand what he's saying except for that he's making the swing very confusing.
Create space.
If we look at that ball flight, you can see the slice on it. You can see that he's probably trying to push his hands out towards contact because there is quite a bit of slice. If you're going to use ball flight as a feedback, is the ball slicing? You don't want it to slice.
Now we can kind of go over how we'll do more of just a traditional bat speed day. This is barrel loaded, this is handle loaded. These are really good for training movement and almost weight training for your swing, just resistance. But then on these days, just swinging these bats as fast as you can.
It kind of bothers me that swing mechanics is so oversimplified. People just don't really seem to be curious about the swing. They don't look into it too much. Here's a bat with a heavy handle. Swing it as hard as you can. Here's a bat with a heavy barrel. Swing it as hard as you can. Let's make it let's measure how fast you're swinging it, and then in a week we'll measure it again, and we're just going to try to get faster and faster. I don't know. You guys maybe haven't noticed, but I believe it's pretty apparent that when you look at the best hitters, they aren't just swinging faster than everyone else. They have a smoother, more efficient swing. There's something that looks different about their swing. And that is because their mechanics are making everything look effortless. And this whole idea these days is that speed, fast, launch quickness, fastest barrel possible, and everyone is extremely tight. And so they're expending so much energy and getting worse results. We need to move towards a more fluid and effortless swing. My book, Swing Like Griffey, means something. I think that we all need to move towards more of a Griffey-like swing. He made it look so smooth. His swing was so smooth, and he hit balls so far and effortlessly precisely because something is very right in his mechanics. So let's see how the year pans out for Paul Goldschmidt. It's not looking great right now. I mean, right now he's at a 208 batting average. He's got 2 home runs and 101 at-bats. If you guys want to learn about how to get a more lead arm dominant structure, read my book, Swing Like Griffey, at theswingmechanic.com. I also have my lead arm training bat, and I also have online consultations. And you can also join this YouTube channel and see my entire baseball swing course. I'll see you next time.